Hey, this is George.
Hey, this is Frags.
This is Real Talk with George and Frazier. How's it going, Frazier?
Hey, good man, good man. This day is Thursday. It's a
Yeah, man.
baby. We got a good
Showtime.
guest today.
We got a very good guest today. Mr. Nine Sum is with us.
What's
Hey,
going
hey,
on? What's
How are
what's
going
you,
going
on,
on?
sir?
fellas?
Good, good, good,
Good
good,
man.
good.
Oh, I like the shirt though. I like the shirt though. St. Louis, baby. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not from there, but I gotta represent. You know
Hey
No
man.
doubt. No
what
doubt.
I'm saying?
Nine, welcome to Real Talk with George and Frazier. We're definitely happy to have you on and also, to represent the culture as to, what it's doing today and how it's moving. I have a few questions, because I used to run into music circles back in the day. I'm talking like Puff Daddy, Suge Knight type days.
Okay,
So I'm
okay.
telling on myself when I say that. However, um, the music has changed significantly from way
hmm
back then. How people sell music, how people present music, streaming platforms has basically made it um, so anybody can get their music out there as long as they have the platform to get it sold. So I definitely want to talk to you about that. But before we get there, Nine Some, tell the fans about your name. How'd you come up with that?
Whew.
That's a good question. You like that
I'm
one?
gonna be, yeah. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be real. You know what I'm saying? It's real. It's really not PG-13, but
Oh, okay.
but you
All
know what
right,
I'm
make it
saying?
PG-13.
Just for the okay, make it PG. Okay, for the fans, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
A
Thank you.
party up
Thank you.
top. It's a party up top and down low. That's all.
exactly.
Man.
All right, I can appreciate that. Appreciate that. So what influenced you musically, as an artist? I mean, there's all genres. I mean, I was Rakim, I don't know,
hmm
naughty. I was, you name it, you know.
No,
That's what I
no.
was listening to. So also some Kurt Cobain in there too, and some AC/DC. So it wasn't
Oh
just
yeah. Guns N'
Yeah.
Roses.
it just wasn't right exactly. It just wasn't on that side. Anything with a good beat, melody, I was definitely in it. What influenced you as an artist?
I say for me, you mentioned some good names. That's also under my list as well. But I would say, you know, Michael Jackson
There we go.
to the Drake. Nowadays, new age is Drake. Um, but I know I'm in that little middle age era where it's just like I'm not old, but I my parents are from there, and I was raised around the older generation, but I'm also in that younger generation. But I like old like Andre 3000, Pac, Biggie. So
Oh yeah. It was good. It was good. Those are good people now.
yeah,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So I
Man.
dabble a little bit of music too, so I know what you're talking about a little bit. You know, you're talking
yeah.
about there. I used to tell people, when I used to man, I tell you, hey, listen, I need a PG-13 version. I need a party club version.
That's right.
Facts. You got to. You got
Got
to.
you gotta have both. Hey, I want a club I can go to play in the club and jam with, and one the little kid can jam with a little hook to it. The other kid
Facts.
playing around back and forth. Like, that was just
Facts.
saying that the album was the one the music that happened on my move. What's your influence on that? You did that song. What's the
Um,
influence?
it was honestly just the name speaks for itself. It was just the mood that I was in and the mood that I was feeling. Like it I wanted it to appeal to the ladies, but also it just how I felt with my mood, it just came along with it. So it's a vibe. It's a vibe.
Okay,
So
okay.
do you write your rhymes and your songs or do you just freestyle? And the reason why I ask is because battle rapping and being able to come off the top is something that a lot of people put a lot of weight and credibility to. But that's
hmm
just if you're an MC. You know,
Yeah.
if you're a rapper and you rock, I always believe that you always got to put something down on paper because a lot of times it has to be worked out that way, in order for it to make sense and it becomes smooth. You know, what's your process for writing?
Um, for the majority of the time, I'm freestyling right up the top. Um, just as an artist, I don't classify myself as a rapper. I just classify myself as an artist first before anything. But I start off freestyling. I think that's the best way, honestly, in my opinion. But I start off freestyling, then if I catch on to something that I really like, okay, I should say that. I should write that down. I just jot it down wherever, a notepad, my notes in my phone. I have so many different just verses and words in my notes right now. But yeah, just freestyling. That's what I like.
And
Okay.
so, Fraser, let me just follow up real quick. And so, when you're saying you're freestyling, how do you construct your albums? I mean, do you approach a song like a freestyle? Can you remember an entire song when you're doing a freestyle with the hook, the melody, and everything? How does that work? You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Your thought process from start and middle. Because I know every time when somebody listens to a beat, you want to freestyle a little bit, put a little
Yeah,
something on it. Then you get
yeah.
stuck in the middle,
Yeah.
because that train of thought hasn't hit you yet. So that's why, normally a lot of people will just slow it down, but
hmm
how would you construct your album? No, let me not say album. That's too fast. But how would you construct a song with that type of method?
it all just really depends on the vibe and how you approach it. I just feel like the way I freestyle, I'm like a more mellow, and I can beats that I can actually like give you time to like think of something creatively. Those are the beats that I majority rock to, but it just comes. I don't
Right.
know. It just comes. It's just that thing that's inside you just comes out.
Cool. Awesome. Go ahead, Fraser.
Bro, let me ask you. So, by being the manager visual, so when they give you the track, right? They tell you do 8 bars, they do 12 bars. What do you prefer? Like when you think of a train of thought, you think 8 bars, you think 12, or
16.
Well, that's a
16
great
rap.
question. When I'm in that mode, it's like I gotta keep going. I can't just write no eight. That's not enough. I gotta keep going.
Okay, okay, okay. So like you said, the tracks. Do you make your own tracks? Do you have influence on your own tracks, or do you solely depend on somebody to give you tracks?
Oh no, everything is just original, authentic. It just comes from straight me. But I would say that like if I'm listening to one of my favorite artists, for instance, and they say something, and I'm like, oh, I really like how they use that bar, and I'll be like, okay, I think I could reword it and make it sound like the same thing, but in my own words. Then so be it.
Right.
Okay.
But it's authentic, really.
Nice. So let me circle back now to the music industry. A
hmm
lot of people will be watching this and thinking about what advice can you give to new artists coming into the music industry? Because I prefaced it by saying, my history back in the days, and back in the days, you used to be able to format an independent album for about $1,500 to $5,000. You know, but if you were doing a major studio album, like something on a Motown or something like that, you were always up there, 100, maybe $200,000, depend who gave you songs for the album. Anybody from track masters to you name it, Troy Taylor and the characters. I mean, it just
hmm
wasn't, you know what I mean? But now, because you can basically do a whole album with a laptop and software now, and you can even mix a whole album that way. Record companies have shifted from all those big budget projects, $1 million albums, and now that you're starting to see them give artists 50,000, 100,000 to deliver a whole album because they know that, you know what I mean? They don't need to spend so much money on quality control as you used to. I mean, you can now deliver an entire album online. You see what I mean? Through Dropbox or any type of cloud based service. And it's already
hmm
mixed, it's all ready to go. Even your packaging now can be done. through a private service, whether you're doing your CD packaging yourself. I'm sorry, I said CD. You know, I'm telling on myself, right? You
Telling your
know,
age again, huh?
yeah, man. You know, but whether you're doing your packaging
Right there,
yourself, you know what I
right?
mean, or you got a graphic designer to do it. You know, oh, you got jokes. But
Yeah.
that being said, what advice can you give to somebody walking into the game now and saying, "Hey, look, I just want to drop an album, or I want to drop this song and put it on Spotify, SoundCloud, you know, but also I want it to bang a little bit."
Mhm. Um, my advice would be, man, because to be honest, I'm learning things as well as the ride goes along. But like you mentioned, it is fairly easy to just be like, okay, I want to make music, I want to make a song, I want to put it on something. It's that easy now. Um, but my advice, it would be to, you know, before even wanting to make music or drop it, let somebody listen to it that you trust and will give you a honest opinion about it and see where it goes from there. And then go out and ask, you know, because there's so many different platforms that you can put things on. Like, I'm through United Masters,
Okay.
but it's so many others. CD Baby, there's a whole bunch others. But my advice would be to do your research on it first and foremost, and see what will work out for you.
And how's it working with United Masters? Are they treating you right? Because I know that they're basically what you would call a press and distribution type of company, where you would deliver the final product to them and then they would distribute it to you.
Hmm.
Are they getting your song on radio? Are they hooking you up with the promoters that are going to be putting you on tour? Because independent record labels right now basically is the way to go, because
Hmm.
you don't have that much money that you have to put down to get there, and that much money you have to pay back on the back end. So whereas other record labels were paying you 9 cents on the dollar, you may able to get 30 to 45 cents, sometimes even 50 cents, if you negotiate properly and all your stuff is together on the dollar for your music.
Exactly.
And that's big, because now you don't have to sell that many records to be profitable and make a living. You see what I'm saying? Doing it.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, no, that's I hear you 100%. Like even with mine, they do promote on like iHeartRadio and Pandora and all that stuff. That is the upside over versus, CD Baby, where you just pay what is it, $20 yearly, and they just post it on just the normal YouTube, um Apple Music and Spotify. That's it. But on United Masters, they post pretty much every streaming platform, and Tidal being one. And I'm a big Nipsey Hussle fan. RP Nipsey Hussle. He didn't taught me. I don't even know the man personally, but he didn't taught me so many things through his documentaries. Just the streaming process. You know what I'm saying? Like Tidal was the number one, but nobody will know that because they just don't have the knowledge. So yeah.
You speaking the title, can I ask you to, you know, a lot of artists back in the day, even around my time and before that, you always heard about them holding their masters. Their masters were the ones that, where all the money was. In the early 40s, 50s, and 60s, black folks never really held their own masters, and it was always somebody else that held the masters and made money. As we got smarter in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, we were always talking about masters and wanting a piece of our royalty. Now, being independent, um, does United Artists take a piece of your royalties too, or you own your royalties 100% and all your copyright for your music?
Yeah. No, you definitely own, like they have like your own worded documents going through everything that you own, and they're not here to, take advantage of you basically. You own everything, copyrights and your own masters, all that.
Okay, good. Phrase.
So let me ask you a question. When I started, we had to do everything by ourselves. marketing. Get out there,
Yup.
Yeah, that's
look
true.
like
Yup.
camel see that back of trunk. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
I mean, compared to that, do you think you still have to feel like you have to go out and do more of your own marketing, or do you solely rely on different platforms to do the marketing for you?
That's a great question. I definitely think you still have to have that go get it, go out and get it mentality. Only because, you know, if nobody's gonna do it for you, who's gonna do it? You know what I'm
That's
saying?
true.
Right.
That's
Absolutely
true.
right.
And it is different, nowadays because it is all, social media based. You can't just go outside and hear a CD, here's this, and you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Um, it's different with social media, but it's the same rules apply, man. You gotta have that go get it mentality, stay in people's DMs, like, hey, check me out. You know what I'm saying? You can send that to 10 people a day, and somebody's gonna view it. Somebody's gonna like it. Some might hate it, but some gonna like it. And then that 10 people gonna show it to them 10 people, their friends, their aunts. It's just a whole grind. You want it.
Okay. So let me ask you again. Go back to now. Let me say, who you think? What song you think influenced you more? You have more like in touch base with. Like what song? Like everybody had that one favorite song. Like when you made like this is a song I love. I love this song. But how I made it, the whole process through the song, everything. What song you think touches you the most, and you think that can influence more people, more young people? Tell a story behind it, stuff like that.
You speaking as my song personally or
Your
just
song personally.
um I would say a song that I have that feeling and value for. It's not even it's on SoundCloud, I think.
Yeah.
And it is not even big or nothing, but it's the song where I'm just like, yeah, everybody can definitely feel this, you know what I'm saying? In every level.
Exactly. I know. Oh, no, I'm hit you with this one now. So, what artist would you want to collaborate with on an album if you had a chance to? What artists would you want to work with? Come on, tell me. Come on. You got a
Hey
hand up.
man,
You took my first question.
hey man, that's a great question. It's so many artists nowadays that I would love to work with. Um, but I would say, um, just for my mood, and who I feel like will be an absolute vibe, I would say a boogie with a hoodie.
Okay. And just curious, what song would you actually make with him? Like, would it be a dance song? Would it be a hip song, club song, or be like one in the mood song? Like, yeah, I want to take back in the day.
The thing with him, man, all his songs are vibes, man. He can sample different songs and make it such a vibe. I just think we can go either way. We can start off at the club. We could dim it down to more appeal to the ladies. You know what I'm saying? And we
Okay.
could just have some for the guys when we just chilling. You know how we do.
Okay. So let me ask you. Here's a good question for you.
Mhm.
Where do you see yourself with your music career in the next 5 years?
Next 5 years. Uh, I honestly think in the next 5 years, because I'm very musically inclined, but I also want to, stir off
Mm-hmm.
into the acting scene. That's
Okay.
been one of my biggest dreams since I was little. But as far as 5 years from now, I can see me on a billboard with Drake, especially.
Nice.
Okay. Okay. How many albums do you have out now? And how many songs do you write? Like for instance, you know,
Mhm.
Tupac used to write a song a day. Prince used to write a song a day. I mean, how many songs do you have? And do you have stuff in the vault waiting for the fans?
Yeah.
Brother, I got so many songs in the vault
Nice.
just waiting.
And how
But
many albums?
yeah, I only have one album. I'm currently working on another album as we speak. Um, Probably gonna be 11 track album. Pretty
Okay.
good stuff in there. It's gonna be pretty dope, man.
Okay. Oh, I got
Don't
one.
wait, hold on, Phrase. Don't sleep on that. Okay. Nas only had 10 tracks on his first album, and that was a banger. Okay.
Yeah,
Two.
That was a banger. You
facts.
listen, if you remember, you
Oh,
listen to that whole album front to back. There was really not one song on that first album from Nas that you could say, oh, that was whack, or
That
I
was
would just
flop.
that is
Yep.
when
Facts.
you put that album on, even to this day, you
that
got
is.
cats that are still rocking to that. Yo, this is
Hey, you
joint.
can't
You
forget
know what I
West
mean?
Coast now.
No, no doubt.
Yeah,
No doubt.
West Coast, man. I listen to West Coast 4, 5 times. What?
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Which way? Why even like this gangster rap or hip hop? Man, it was West Coast, Ice
Yeah,
Cube, Dre, Snoop
yeah.
Dogg. I mean, I used to Snoop Dogg when you just chilling, like, dude, how you do that so mellow and so mellow? And be like, you be like,
It just
how you
pops
do that?
every time.
Yeah, every time.
I mean,
Every time.
that was oh man,
Talented, talented. So
oh
one album.
man.
What's the name of your second album? Can you say that right now, or is it still a title in progress?
I It's a title in progress, but it's gonna be called Me. I'm thinking with two E's. It stands for Mixed Emotions Everywhere.
Hmm.
So this album, I want it to be, you know, title speaks for itself. It's gonna be about me. You know what I'm saying? A lot of emotions, a lot of things that I've been through over the years, and I'm gonna touch bases on things as Black folk that we're going through right now. Well, we've been going through this, but it's in the media now. But I'm gonna touch bases on all that and stir it into a vibe.
Nice. Now, with that particular platform, it's you see a lot of people using their platform to step out and talk about a lot of the injustices that we're seeing. I tell people all the time, our saving grace as a race and as a people has been the mobile phone. Because for years this has been happening to us. Like everybody knows here, we have relatives that it's gone through. We've gone through it, but this is the first time that nationally, internationally, people see what we're talking about, and they're not saying. Before they used to say, "Oh, it can't be that bad. You got to be kidding me. They don't go through that every day." But now that they're actually seeing it live and video is capturing that, you're starting to see a lot of celebrities and a lot of people with big platforms come up and say, "Hey, this is what our struggle has always been about, from Black Lives Matter to this brother taking the knee just to say, hey, we need to recognize what's happening here and pay attention to it." Um, is that the vibe where you're going with this album and some of the things that you want to talk about that you see as a young black man in America and in your area, in your hood, you know, uh,
Hmm.
and what's happening? Because, like Cube said, there's a hood in every city in America, you know, and your hood is no different than my hood. It's just a different location, whether it's the rules, whether it's the vibe, whether it's the policing, whether it's everything else. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And I think we can talk openly about that because that's not anything new to us, for a race of people. We've always been able to rise from adversity. Everybody always says, we never realized that we were poor, but we were the ones that used to make toys out of milk cartons and do all these other things.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Because we didn't have enough. We were the ones that made it from the government cheese and everything else like that. You see what I mean? That
Hmm.
that we got through, and we all rose above that. So, I mean, I didn't mean to go back in history, brother, but I'm just, I'm trying to
Yeah,
get a,
oh, man.
Keep
I'm
on,
trying to get
preach
a
on,
vibe as to
brother.
where you are. You
Preach
know what I
on,
mean?
brother. Talk about this anytime, man. Could talk. You
No
Exactly.
can
doubt.
talk to me. You can get my personal number. We could talk about the game,
No
man.
doubt.
Exactly.
So is
Exactly.
that really where you're going with the vibe on some of the things that we need to talk about? Because we don't have enough young voices out there talking about that. You
Right.
know, we have a lot of young voices talking about what can we put on our bodies or what we can wear on our behinds, but we don't have enough young voices talking about assets, you know,
Hmm.
and our counterparts are talking to their kids and teaching their kids about assets, not liabilities, not stuff. Okay, something that's going to take you, like you said, you want to act in the future, or something that's going to take you from A to B. What asset are you going to have in place? What type of generational wealth are you planning right now and putting in place? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it would be more well received from a young brother like you than somebody like me, because they'll be like, "Oh, this old dude sitting here talking about all this stuff," but that's wisdom. You know what I mean? I wish somebody would have told me 20 years the difference between
Right.
an asset and a liability.
Exactly.
I could have
Facts.
saved myself tens of thousands of dollars if I would have known that then. You see what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah, no, no doubt. With this album, I definitely want to touch bases on some events that's been happening. You know, like you said, I am one of the younger voices of the generation, and I want to use my platform as much as I can,
Right.
especially just touch bases with just where I'm from. You know what I'm saying? I'm from Fresno, California. Um, it's been 500, 560 shootings just within this year. That's the highest it's ever been. I just want to touch bases on every corner that I can, but at the same time, create a vibe people
Right.
will want to listen to every day,
Can
and
I ask
also
you?
just hear. Hmm.
Can I ask you really quick? Why do you think that that's as high as it's ever been? You know, is it just the culture that we're in? Is it political culture that we're in? Is it is it
It,
so is it psychological? Is it sociological? What do you think it is?
man, a lot has to do with just this newer generation, man. Um, not I don't want to say too much. It's the parenting because I was raised around two married parents, and they taught me everything.
Yeah, but you say married
Um,
like that was a bad thing. That was
no,
exactly
no,
what was
no, no,
supposed to
no,
happen.
not at
You know what I
all.
mean?
But I'm
You're
just
supposed to be
saying,
married and raise your
yeah,
kids. You know what I mean? Like
that's how it's supposed to be.
you was,
That's how
yeah,
that's how it's
you was
supposed to be.
whispering about it too. Married parents. Yeah,
Probably.
that's exactly what's
Yeah,
supposed to
they probably yelling at me too behind the camera.
happen.
But no, yeah, I just think that a lot has to do socially too with social media. You know, these younger generations already stern from separated parents, and now they just what else do they have to look up to? They see
Right.
whatever is on social media, and even it comes down to us as artists, what we talk about going on in our hoods and this we repping this
Mhm.
and that. They are all looking at this
Right.
and they're taking from it.
Exactly. Exactly. Let me ask you a question. You
Hmm.
said where you come from, a lot of shootings, gangs, stuff, whatever. Like, what would influence you to not be in that same statistic and being, or even being a victim of
Hmm.
gang violence or stuff like that? Who were your role models and who influenced you, keep you out of stuff like that, and keep you on the right path, the right track?
Um, I can't really single out not one person. My family as a collective, we're just a great support. There was a great support for me. Um, I was very I was very sports like, in the hood. And I don't even feel like I don't even mean to say it's like a stereotype, but it's kind of the truth. You either playing sports or you're banging. I went I went the sports route, and my I went under my cousin Philip's wing. He everything he did, I wanted to be like, and so I just stuck around with him, and I really am the person I am today because of him.
You say that, and we had Marcus Benjamin on, who's a journalist down in Miami, and I just wanted to let you know that he mentioned the exact same thing. Being able to have the community centers in place to keep these kids off the street and also
Mhm.
give them the recognition is key. You just mentioned, your cousin pulled you into sports to keep you off the streets. But down in Miami, they rather worry about everything else than building facilities and community centers for the kids. You see what I mean? To
Exactly.
keep
Mhm.
them occupied
Right.
and keep them in sports. And I
Right.
didn't know this. I just wanted to share this statistic with you. You know that Florida has produced, football players in the major in the NFL
Mhm.
almost to what 30, 40, 50% of the players in the NFL come from Florida. You
Exactly.
know,
Yeah.
with the still low level of facilities that they're basically fighting their way out of. So
Mhm.
it's unique that you would say, even where you are from in California, it's the same thing. You know,
Mhm.
we either have sports or we have the streets. We don't have that in between of,
Exactly.
you have science or anything else or that our counterparts get to go to, like, sleepaway camp. I mean, like we don't have those things available to us like that. That's readily to us, where we could,
Yeah.
talk about robotics or we can go to robotics camp. We don't have those things.
Right.
And it, and it's yeah, and we always express our history. We always express our relationships. We always express how we through music.
Mhm.
Music has been our form of expression for years and years and years, and it's taken a lot of different forms as it's been manipulated to blues and everything else of that nature. But it's still the same songs that we've been singing since we got here. You know what I
Facts.
mean? Uh,
Exactly.
that
Facts.
that keep us going and talks about the hardship. You know, so
Mhm.
it's definitely interesting that you would say that. I appreciate you saying that. Sorry.
Mhm. Yeah, like you said, Ice Cube said it best. Every city has its own. Every hood has its own city.
Yeah,
Every city has its
absolutely,
own hood.
Exactly.
absolutely.
So let me ask you, knowing this, know how your hood is and how things you think you can influence yourself to fix or influence, how do you plan on using your platform to go back into your neighborhood, your community, and plant that seed for the young black brothers not to go down that path or have the option to say, I want either bang or I'm gonna play sports. What about when you think add another alternative or option to them, like music? Like I've seen I heard of Cadillac Records where they
Mhm.
actually playing a school for influencers to come in and learn. Like for instance, Chance, the rapper, he learned through library. He said he learned with the library, went to the library, learned how to mix stuff for that and create the. Are you planning on doing the same type of thing to your community when you use get a platform up there?
Yeah, that would be something I'm very interested in doing. As an artist, um, I go back to my hood. I haven't been, just because of this COVID stuff going on. I haven't been in a minute. But I used to, even before I was an artist, I would go, feed the homeless right there on G Street, like feed them, help just talk to them, because that's something that they need. And I bring a couple of my friends with me, just not even to post or anything. Like I don't post nothing that I do. Um, just because it's out of generosity is genuine, you know what I'm saying? And I
Right.
just hope that they just watch me and learn from it. But I definitely like my aunt, um she owns the ELC, the west part of Fresno. And what she's doing with the kids, like it's like an after school program, and they do all types of different things, help them with their homework. And they have like a sweet potato project where they just plant potatoes, and she does a lot with the kids, and I help out. And I feel like with my platform I would do you know the same thing. Just watching what she does, it really helps the kids.
Yeah, it does. It does. And even you just being seen, okay, because kids are very impressionable, as you know. So
Hmm.
they're listening to your music on their phones, they're seeing your videos on YouTube, and now all of a sudden you're here talking to them in a community center. You know,
Hmm.
their perception isn't, oh, this guy's a nobody. You know, their
Exactly.
perception is this guy's a superstar. He's just as famous as everybody else they're listening to on their phone. And you know, being able to be seen, it takes it. You know, it's like meeting your idol. It changes them. It definitely changes them. You know, I can tell you that for a fact. Kids are very perceptionable. You know, and even being, I don't know if you know this, but I'm a martial arts instructor. I have kids that I used to teach. I used to teach at-risk youth taekwondo, you know, that are grown men now and come back to me and tell me, "Thank you, Mr. Bowley. You know, you're the
Mhm.
man I am today because of Taekwondo." So it definitely does make a difference in what you're doing and being seen. You know, sometimes we forget that there's people standing behind us. You
Exactly.
Right.
know what I mean?
Right.
A lot of times we forget that. Sometimes we forget there's always somebody looking up and watching us as well
Exactly.
too.
Mhm.
You know,
Exactly.
so
That's why I did the same thing. See, I did more of the tough approach. I did boot camps. I did what I
Okay.
call pre-juveniles. It's before you become juvenile, but we get you before you get to that step. We get you from the courts.
hmm
We actually go and represent you and take you out of court, and you gotta get actually assigned to us our program for a certain period of time in order to rehabilitate with physical function, whatever. And I tell the story about every one kid who he was from both parents, both home,
Mhm.
but they were never home.
hmm
Always
Mhm.
working, constantly working. And he ended up getting a gang. He ended up being a leader of a gang. And he ended up doing some pretty bad things or whatever. And it's funny because we came there, he was all tough. I'm like, yeah, I ain't doing none of this. And the guy was the most gentlest person you ever seen in your life. He's like a freaking teddy bear, okay? And it's funny how he went from being that bad person to actually a role model with a certain time.
Mm.
And I bring him up because I had an incident where one kid who continued to be a knucklehead, whatever, actually wanted to stand against him. And the person I least suspected would stand up. Who I thought hated me probably the most, I was on him the most, was that one kid from the gang, from the hood, representing came and said, no, listen, this is one guy that's gonna help you. He's your guy this. He's your
No.
head over heel. He'll fight head over heels for you. You know? And to me, that's was a stepping stone for me, also a learning lesson for me and also to him. And
Right.
we did programs, like you said, that help kids homework. We did homework stuff. We went to schools and had to talk to the teachers and everything. And it's surprised how the little intention they got went a
Mhm.
long way. You know,
Exactly.
it went a long way. They went from
Exactly.
D's and F's to A's, grade A students. They were doing.
Mhm.
One kid from Brazil he writes me every time. Hey, Sergeant Major, man, I miss you. You know, I had one kid. He's actually studying now to become a lawyer. He
Nice.
the whole unit. He was so funny. He'll tell everybody, excuse me, Sergeant Major, we're gonna do this way, but we'll run for you, but 1 or 2 laps. Because
Definitely a lawyer.
so much.
Definitely
Yeah,
negotiating
yeah, for
already.
sure.
Definitely a lawyer. You knew that was
For
going to be
sure.
the path. Oh, too
Honestly,
funny.
I mean, that was so it's good to see a young brother like yourself actually want to give back to that
Mhm.
community. And like us, like me and George, we're older guys. We went through a little tougher phase. We went through
Mhm.
the tough part, the nice part, in between
Yeah.
part, but we also had a lot of role models. There's
Mhm.
not enough role models nowadays for the young generation now to look up.
Hey, you forgot the other part, okay? The married part,
Oh man,
the
let's go.
father part, the
Yeah.
We are
kid part, okay? You forgot that part too.
Yeah.
You know, definitely all good. Definitely all good.
exactly. I mean, I tell you, won't touch back on the married part. I seen a couple. It was so funny to tell the story. A couple. They was like on my job. Now you see how young people kiss and all that, whatever. Right? These are old. These are older people.
Oh.
These are like teenagers in the back. I'm telling them, they were like, I'm going at it. I'm like, what the hell? They were like,
Yeah.
oh. And I happened to get lucky to talk to them. And it was the funniest story. They don't see each other as we see them. You see what I'm saying? They
Yeah.
have a different image of how they
Yeah.
see, you know? Like they show a picture of each other when they first met in their wallets.
Mhm.
And they tell you, this is how I see her. This is how I see him.
Right.
You
It's
know.
amazing because the fact of the matter is they love each other for themselves. And they don't let nobody influence them to think
Right.
otherwise.
Right.
You know,
Yep.
and I would say that's good to see a young brother like yourself not be influenced by other people, by peer pressure, which peer pressure is a mug. They get on you
Yeah.
big time, you know how it is. I mean,
Yep.
and to overcome that and start a career that you can be proud of. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
that's to me, you're winning in my book no matter how I look at it, because you're the
Appreciate it.
one, you're not that victim.
That's
One,
right.
you're not a victim. Two, you're not in the game. So to me, you're a winner. As an African American male, you are a winner right off the bat, because when I was going to school, if I didn't tell what teacher told me one time, you either go gang bang, dead, or in prison.
Yep.
Those
Yep.
3 steps you're gonna be at, son. None of them are gonna be good for you. So I said, what about college? What about my own
Right.
business? Oh, they're not for you. Excuse me? Why? Oh, that's for people with silver spoons in their mouth.
Yeah.
No, not really. Not really. I have to interject there, okay, because none of us was raised with silver spoons in our mouths.
Exactly.
But to
But
be honest, that was the programming. Okay, you have to realize that when we were coming up, we were either going to go to the military. If we didn't go to the military, we were going to be in jail, or we were going to be this, that, or a third. It was never anything positive like, oh, you can have your master's degree, or you can be a successful businessman, or you can be an author. It was always on that lower part. And like I
Yeah.
was telling you before, kids are very susceptible. So kids believe that. So if you defeat a child before he even gets started, he will
Before
never,
you.
ever, ever run the race. He'll never run the
Yeah.
race.
exactly.
Definitely all good.
Yeah.
I know you have a
Yeah.
few more minutes left, Nine. Anything else you want to add to the show?
I mean, I appreciate y'all having me, man. You know, I'm invited. Am I invited next time?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Come on
Yeah,
back
I'm
with the new
saying.
album because I
Yeah, I'm
definitely,
saying.
definitely, definitely want to hear it.
Oh, I got one.
Okay.
Appreciate y'all.
I got one
What's
for
up?
you though.
What's
What
up,
about
man?
you? You got fragrance. I heard it. I heard it.
Oh, that's right. Got your own stuff coming out, huh?
Hey,
Yeah.
I predict you're gonna be a hit. What do you think about it? I mean,
Hey, man. I have nothing but high hopes and praise for this song, man. I
you ain't
think it's gonna
you got a sample over there you want to play a little bit for us? You got a little
a
sample of
sample.
yeah,
Oh man.
you got a little sample.
Oh man.
Artist, you know how to you know.
I I hit you. I hit you for it. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? I
And we'll
give it
mix
to
it
you.
in. We'll definitely recut this video phrase so we can get it in there. No doubt.
For sure, for sure, man. But yeah, I appreciate you guys, man, taking the time out your day and inviting me to your show, man. It's been all love. You know what I'm
No doubt.
saying? It's nice to talk to a group of my people. You know what I'm saying? My
Right.
people.
Absolutely.
And I love it.
Well, man, you're always welcome to the show. Anytime. We definitely love to have you back.
For sure,
Exactly.
man.
You gotta come back. You gotta come back.
For
One.
sure. Anytime. Appreciate y'all.
No doubt.
Appreciate you, brother.
Oh, man, it's a great show. Positive, brother.
I love
The
it.
thing about it is we don't get enough. We're not seen that much. Like this brother right here. See what I mean? We're not seen like that. We only
Exactly.
get we only get the half of the part that the media wants to show. They never
Exactly.
show brothers like these. Positive brothers going back into their communities, man.
They don't. It shows us the ones that always getting banged down by police or need back at the police. They only show us we're doing the opposite of what we capable of doing. Like our full potential,
Right.
We have a
Right.
lot of talent, a lot of potential.
Right.
And I will listen to this. Matter of fact, let's touch base on that story you told me about the 50-year-old boxer champion come back in to back
Who,
in.
Chris Bird?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I was listening to the story and he go back exactly what you're talking about right now. How you trying to tell you what you can't do, you won't be able to, you still won't, and he still fought through all of that. And look at him now, 50 years old,
Right.
and look better than a 20-year-old. That's
Well,
amazing.
there's a lot of things you have to look at that too, Phrase. It's psychological. You know, being a prize fighter, you're not just dealing with the fight, you're dealing with all the emotion that goes on with the fight. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you don't have the right people around you that can tune all of that stuff out, because it's not just the fight itself, it's the personal business, it's your personal health, and then it's all the business of fighting. You got to sell the fight. You got to put yourself in this. With social media now, you will be asked so many questions on your Twitter. You said this on your Instagram. You said that.
Yeah.
Some of that stuff can be completely irrelevant that have nothing to do with a fight. Okay. But emotionally, you have to go through it. And so living with that, like Chris Bird did without social media, but the pressures of being a prize fighter and now coming back, it was the same thing I said it before. A lot of people don't know that Tyson used to take depression medication. Okay. And the reason why Mike Tyson was the way that he was during the fight was because they used to have him off of his medication. You know what I mean? Mike Tyson had anxiety. Mike Tyson had a lot of different things that they over medicated him for. So when you take that away, what happens? He becomes aggressive. He becomes an animal. He becomes everything. You
Exactly.
know, and a lot of fighters, you're only good as your last fight. So if
Exactly.
you're sitting here now and you've lost a few fights, you've lost a few steps. I mean, just imagine a promoter telling you that you're not worth the money that you've been asking for this particular fight, but you literally have put the blood, the sweat, the tears in to this particular business. And if
Exactly.
it's that promoter, you've made that promoter tens of thousands of dollars, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. If you're a superstar, you've made that promoter millions of dollars
Exactly.
and later come back and tell you that you're not worth the money or you only got one fight left. I mean,
Exactly.
it's a crazy business, but I understand the business, but it's still a crazy business because
It's
it takes a psychological toll.
exactly.
Now look, Mike
Exactly.
Tyson's head is right. His head is right.
You see him?
Okay,
It's
his
the
head
same.
is right. Okay,
You see
Chris
him
Bird head is right. Okay, he's not coming back at heavyweight. I think he's either fighting at light heavyweight
middleweight.
or middleweight. See
Or
what I'm
middleweight.
saying?
He dropped from heavyweight to middleweight. He
Okay.
just said a story because he said he had dropped. He went heavy because the fact of the matter is nobody wanted to fight him at that weight.
Right.
So he actually gained more weight by hurting his health, also putting himself at risk in order to move up to the heavyweight in order just to get a fight.
Yeah.
See, that's bad because he was saying in the article that it gave him a lot of health issues that he wasn't expecting, a lot of things that happened to him in his life that wasn't expected to him.
Yeah. If your body's not conditioned to carry that kind of weight, no matter what kind of exercise you do, it's not going to be for you. Now look at him at 50. He's right at middleweight where he should have been 20 years ago.
Exactly.
You see what I mean?
And he feeling good at it. He feel more energetic. His mindset is right. His mindset is focused more on what his objectives is now. I mean, I think we get stereotyped as athletes. We get stereotyped. We got to be a big size. You got to be a certain weight. You got to be this. I used to say myself when I'm playing my football career. Same thing. You always too short. You're not tall enough. You need to gain more weight. No, play fullback because you fast, but you're not too short. We want a little bit taller. Or you can't play linebacker. You want a 6'2" person to play linebacker. But it doesn't matter if look at Zach Thomas. He wasn't that tall, but he was a beast. John Arthur wasn't that tall, was a beast. I mean, look at a lot of people that were stereotyped part of their college careers, where they
and stymied. And the reason why they were stymied was because they weren't in the positions that they should have been. They were put in the positions that the coach put them in, and so they didn't transition well. And when you don't transition well to a position, it just doesn't work for you.
Exactly, you
It
find
doesn't work for you.
so we know he's look at for example Urban Fire who played for the Browns, right? He was a quarterback in college, but in order for him to be drafted, he had to change the position to a wide receiver,
Right?
in order just to get drafted.
Right.
I think that's fair to a person who played a position all his life through college. Then you tell him, in order for me to be drafted, I have to actually change what I'm comfortable with, what I actually excelled at, in order to go to another position where I risk of me failing,
right,
or achieving,
right,
or might not even altogether just want to quit because you feel comfortable no more with it. You don't feel confident enough, And unfortunately, he didn't fall in that bucket. He actually was successful wide receiver for a little bit. Then guess what happened? First screen quarterback got hurt. Second quarterback got hurt. Third screen quarterback got hurt. Guess who's back at quarterback?
Yep.
I mean, patience sometimes is a virtue, but sometimes patience can get you where you want to be.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. Let's switch gears really quick.
I got to
I'm not absent to the fact that there's a presidential debate tonight.
Yeah,
it's the last presidential debate. They missed the second one due to his COVID positive test, and he didn't want to do it virtual. But
Exactly.
I don't know about you, Frage, but we've already voted. We voted by mail. We got it done and over with.
Yeah,
So I'm really not interested in watching a presidential debate when I've already voted for my candidate.
exactly.
Um, that being said, I know you being in Florida. Tell us what the atmosphere is like in Florida right now with voting, enthusiasm, fear, anxiety. What are we seeing in Florida? And I'll tell you what we're seeing here in New Jersey.
It's so much here. It's so much because Florida is a battleground state, so we are considered very important. You got Hispanic votes, the Black minority votes, but then you also got I call the one nobody forgot about, the Caucasian votes, which are now coming out a lot more now. And I know you're aware, like it's getting more aggressive down here within candidate campaigning stuff like that, whatever. 'Cause we not only have the president election, we also have commissioners running, you got governors runing, so we got
School boards, right,
going on at one time. It's hard to focus on one particular thing, you know.
right, right.
And that's what I was saying before. Like, what do you see more important? Is the president really important? We all know who we put in. Everybody put have an idea who they voted for already, you know. And I think majority of Floridians had that same complex. Like, should I vote for this guy or should I vote for this guy? If I vote for this guy, what will happen? The most important reaction part of what would happen if they vote was counted to the candidate and who wins, what happened with the other candidate?
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So I like you said, you know who you voted. People know who they voted for in Floridians. And the whole point I think focus on here mostly is what the reaction of after the presidential election. When Florida and who wins Florida. Because the thing of it is, people say is Democrat, but remember Florida, most majority of Florida governors are Republican. You see what I'm saying? So that's the dilemma we have. So you got some Democrats with not that many, but most Republicans. But some Republicans are secretly not voting for their candidate. You see? So that's also causing a lot of problems. And he was supposed to come down here to actually campaign. I think West Palm Beach, I believe West Palm Beach and Miami-Dade County. And there was some mixed emotions about that. Some people wanted him here. Some people said, no, we don't want you here, man. Plus, two, you got COVID. You ain't really, we're not sure you test positive, yeah, negative, whatever. And that's a really major, I see, concern here is why we should vote for him. Why we should vote for the candidate who's up there, What is it
Well,
to do?
look, I agree with you 100%, but this is why elections matter. You know, the reason why we decided to vote by mail instead of standing in line is because, quite honestly, they made it too difficult to stand in line
Right.
voting. I live in a Republican district, so literally, instead of me going to vote around the corner, literally up the street, they're having me go all the way across town to vote,
Oh, wow.
saying that that's my district. Now, I didn't register as a Democrat or Republican. I'm an independent, as you know.
Yeah, I'm
Right?
opinion also.
But they had me going all the way across town to vote. And I can't see going all the way across town and then standing in line for 6 hours to vote. That's just not fair to me, you know, because you've stacked the deck or you've made it that difficult for me to get
Exactly.
up
It's a
and vote.
strategy. It's
You
a,
know.
it's a strategy. I mean,
So
like you said,
I just feel like everybody who wants to vote has started the process to vote. Everybody knows who they're voting for. At least I hope that they do. And we just get past this process
exactly.
civilly. That's my real concern is
That's
civilly.
the same concern. I mean, have you noticed this? There've been a lot of rumors, a lot of groups coming out and said if this president win or this president win, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. I mean, we all bought at one thing. We're Americans. You see,
Right.
people look at us as influences, as like a big brother. We should not be acting like little kids on a simple day of the election. If you win, you lose. Okay, you lose. Suck it up. Plan for the next year or following year to come back or something. But don't be a sore loser. You see what I'm saying? Win
Well, I agree with you, but I think that it's deeper. I think the roots are deeper. And the reason why I'm saying this is the first administration that we've seen. See, the thing about politics that used to happen, I know we have 5 minutes left, so I'll keep
yeah.
it short.
No, no, no.
Um, 1980 to 1990, people were very boisterous in politics. Then in 1990 up to maybe 2000, politics went from overt to covert. Okay, people stopped being boisterous. People stopped doing this because the times had changed too.
Exactly.
From 2000 to where we are right now, it was the same exact thing. You know, but now we're in a situation where all the people are coming out of the closet, so to speak, about how they feel. And that's
Exactly.
why I told you before, I
Exactly.
don't feel bad that people support this president and his ideals because I rather see you coming at me than having you stab me in the back.
Exactly.
Okay. Especially with kids. I rather
Exactly.
see you to know how you feel completely than to have my kids at your house or me be at your house and thinking you're one way and then come to find out you're not that way at all. Because
Exactly.
I don't care what anybody says. Your politics influences your morals and your character. It
Exactly.
has to. Because if you can't separate that difference or that two, then something's actually wrong with you. Okay. If you can't stand up with enough character, integrity, okay, and honesty throughout the entire process, then you can't do it. I mean, you can't do it in business. I would say it all the time,
Exactly.
you know.
I go back to
It
what you
just,
said before. The mindset. What are your mindset is
right.
when you're going into the situations, when you're going into think of what you're going to do, you know? And my thing is, like you said, just based on back then, they're different in voting. We didn't have an issue with candidates or whatever. They had a little trash talking. But no, I was too, you got to think too. So I think one part you're missing on this is the media. Back to social media, back to the media. They hype things they shouldn't hype, you know? When
Well, it's a 24 hour news cycle. So you have to always have news
it,
content,
but
everything.
remember, you
And
control
that's,
a lot of influence.
yeah,
You
there's
you
no doubt about it.
you're an influencer. Newscasters, you're influencers, you're this way here. If you entertain ignorance, it will keep going. It will never stop. You know,
Right.
you will give ignorance a voice, which back then it can have no voice. Ignorance has always been around. These people have always been around. They just never have a voice. Now they have a voice. They have a platform. They're utilizing that platform to the best of their ability. And now it's also affecting the elections. How we run the election, how we do the election. Look at you say, we're independent. Why do we have to go 4 million miles away in order to make a vote when we go right around the corner? Oh, you're not a Democrat, or you're a Republican, so we need you to go on that side of the country to vote. So basically, you say you alienating us because we're independent, because we decided we don't judge each party, but by what they do and about how they're actually going to do their job. I mean, I'm independent because I want you to do your job. What are you going to do? What are you going to do your influence to actually implement policies and stuff to improve our way of life, to improve foreign policies, to improve things? That's what I care about. I don't
Right.
care about emails. I don't care about who you slept with last week. Who cares? What are you going to do for this country? That is the most important thing I care about.
Oh yeah. I mean, look, I definitely agree with you. The reason why I moved to being an independent was because ideals are not unique to one person or one party. Okay. In business, as you know, the best businessmen in the whole world will tell you that you fashion your business based on a successful business model. It's
Exactly.
just that simple. But in this country, we have this notion that we're always the best and we're the greatest, and we're not. Okay. We're almost what, number 200 when it comes to our educational system.
It's scary.
Okay.
True.
We're in the 75th percentile when it comes to our healthcare system in this country. Okay. Our infant mortality rate is higher, almost on the same par as third world countries.
Exactly.
Okay. And
Exactly.
so my thing is, why don't you mimic what works and you know what works? Why put politics around it to kill people or not have people thrive because it's politics? Like I mentioned that story before about my son. I asked him, okay, Edward Einstein, who was he? He said he was an American scientist. He was a genius. I had to correct him and say, no, he wasn't an American scientist. He was German. Okay.
Exactly.
Came to America after Hitler. So that just goes to show that, I mean, came to America during Hitler. So that just goes to show that intelligence is not uniquely based to a certain type of people. A good ideal is a good ideal, you know, and we should be able to take those good ideals to benefit America as a whole, not just one party or not just one
Exactly.
person.
Exactly.
We got
Totally
10 seconds, phrase. We got 10 seconds.
10
Wrap it
seconds.
up.
Oh, well, I say, like you say, everybody reach out to go out and vote. It's important to vote. Voice your opinion. I think that's one important thing we should touch base on before you leave.
Absolutely. And I want to thank Nine Sun for coming on the show. Once again, this is George,
This is Frazier.
and this is Real Talk. We look forward to talking to you all next week.
Next week, baby.